Hey all, welcome to Slay the Spire. Today we're not playing a daily, instead we're going to play Ascension 20 with the Watcher. I'm actually currently away, so I won't be able to record today's and tomorrow's run, and I'll be back with the daily for March 2nd. But hopefully in the meantime you can enjoy this run. And I'll also try to post one tomorrow, but no promises there. Okay, so Ascension 20 is always much more different than the daily runs, so a few things that I'll explain. This is, by the way, going on double speed, so feel free to slow down if you want to see exactly what I did, but hopefully the double speed won't make it too boring, especially since I'm commentating over it. So at the beginning, Meow gave me a few choices, but none of them were amazing. So I could transform a card, obtain a curse, transform 2 cards, lose my starting relic to gain a random boss relic, or just gain 100 gold. And I think I just went with the 100 gold route. I think that was probably the safest choice there. I also took an early Reach Heaven, which is a decent card. It gives you the Through Violence, which can deal 20 damage, and then when you're in a Wrath, it deals double that, so 40. And then when you upgrade it, it does 20 more in Wrath, so 60, which is pretty neat. So it's very useful to have. Also, very early on got the Warped Tongues event, so I got that, so upgrades won't be that important anymore. I did get that curse though, so I have to try to remove it as soon as I can. So then next I took Conclude, which is going to be very useful for AoE attacks, especially when I'm in Wrath. At the next event I also got Letter Opener, which means I would deal 5 AoE damage to all enemies when I play 3 skills, which should happen often enough, especially with the Miracle in my hand. So yeah, and then the first elite fight, I usually try to go for the super elite on the first act, mostly because if I fail, I can just reload, and not reload, but you know, start from scratch, and I don't have to play all 3 acts. And I also got a really good opening hand where I had the Eruption and the Conclude, so I was able to deal a lot of damage. Now, unfortunately, I still had to take some damage from the backliner while I was in Wrath, but comparably, it wasn't that much. Alright, next I was offered the rare card Spirit Shield, which I definitely have to take. I think it's a very strong card, especially once you pick up a few Retain synergies, which the Watcher has tons of examples for. And then again, I was able to kill with Eruption and the Through Violence. The next elite was the Lagavulin. And here I made sure I throw the weakness potion because I didn't have the best hands. I was able to enter Calm though before the enemy was awakened, and then I got lucky because I was able to exit Calm and enter Wrath in the turn where he wasn't attacking, so I was able to quickly kill. The reward for this elite was Bottle Lightning, and I actually misclicked there. I clicked the Bottle Lightning and then I immediately clicked again. I sort of did a double click, and so it picked the first card that was under my mouse at that time, which was just a basic defend. So I basically put a basic defend in my opening hand with Bottle Lightning, which was fine, but I don't think I could have reloaded at that point, so I just was like, fine, small error, I can continue. Alright, at the shop I also got Sands of Time, which is really good. It stays in your hand, and you can wait for the Wrath stance to use it, and especially since we have Warped Tongues, there's actually a very high chance that it would get upgraded at some point since it's going to be in our hand for a while. And with the upgrade under the Wrath stance, you basically do 52 damage, which is pretty good for potentially a 0-cost card. And then I took a second Sands of Time. I have to admit, I was kind of hoping to get a Snecko Eye, because having 2 Sands of Time with Snecko Eye would have been pretty neat. I didn't end up getting one though. And then, I know I just said that I do like to go for the Super Elite on the first act, but I felt I wasn't ready yet, mostly because I only had 13 HP left, and I didn't want to risk it. There is obviously a very high chance that you can perfect the, especially the Elites on the first act, but I just didn't want to risk it because I thought the run was going pretty well so far. I also took Foreign Influence. I started liking Foreign Influence ever since they changed it in a recent patch. So it used to be that it would upgrade to give you an upgraded card, but now it upgrades to give you a 0-cost card, which I think is much better. So you can really get lucky and get some really strong attack cards for 0 cost. Yeah, unfortunately Foreign Influence didn't give me anything amazing. I took Last Knife just for the damage output. And then, yeah, so I was getting 12 incoming. I was able to fully defend that turn. Of course, it's not my goal to fully defend because it's not a daily. I just want to make sure that, you know, I can kill quickly. Ascension 20 is nothing to laugh at. But yeah, so the Hexaghost fight went pretty well. I was waiting a little bit for the Sands of Time, but I did end up playing one at 2 energy just because I was in Wrath. And then I also drank a stance potion to exit Wrath, otherwise I would have been not in a good position there. But yeah, so I had a few defensive cards, like Spirit Shield I think helped a lot, making sure that I can hold on the Sands of Time until it becomes 0 cost, and then killed pretty quickly at the end. For the boss reward, I took the Vault, which I think is a really good card, especially if you're sort of aiming towards a Wrath deck, because now I can actually enter Wrath, and then maybe play a few cards with the Miracle I have, and then play the Vault. So then I'll skip a turn, and that also helps getting the cost of the Sands of Time down. It's generally a very useful card if you're relying on these stance shifts. For the boss relic, unfortunately I didn't have a good energy relic. A Coffee Dripper was the only energy relic offered, and I was afraid that I would just die if I couldn't rest. So instead I just took the Cursed Bell, which gives us 3 extra relics, which I think is fine. I think with the Sands of Time getting cheaper and cheaper, we didn't need extra energy. And then at the first fight on the second act, I was actually offered a 3rd Sands of Time, but I think there I took Meditate, because now that our deck is getting a little larger, we do need better ways to exit Wrath, otherwise we won't be in a good position if we can't exit it. Alright, so Act 2 wasn't too difficult, again, because the enemies are still weak enough that you can basically just enter Wrath and then just play Sands of Time, maybe even after waiting a few turns and using Vault effectively. So in general, I didn't have any problems with the floors on Act 2. And yeah, even sometimes I was still in Wrath while the enemy was attacking me, but I was able to defend with Spirit Shield or some other card, so generally it wasn't a big problem. So then next I was offered Protect, which I really liked. I took it immediately, especially it is a card that retains, it gives you block, and it will help Spirit Shield a little bit. I didn't find anything useful in the shop. I did remove a Strike, and then I also took Lantern, since we do have a backup preparation, meaning our opening hand is 7 cards large. So having extra energy on our opening hand is nice. So against the first elite on the second act, I had Eruption and Conclude, so I was trying to figure out a way to get both of them to work. Yeah, you can tell I'm really thinking about how to do this here. Because I also have a Crescendo, so I was thinking maybe I should play that first, maybe I should play the Miracle first, so there's some calculation needed. So I first entered Calm, then played the Crescendo to exit Calm to give me energy back. And then I knew that I had to end with the Conclude. So then I decided to defend a little bit, Strike, Eruption, Conclude. That will kill the backline, and now I would still take a bunch of damage from the other two. But now I should be in a good position to actually kill. Now the second turn I could play Sands of Time to kill, which I ended up doing. I was very close to being able to kill with the Reach Heaven, but it was a little too far off. So anyway, I was able to kill the next turn, so it wasn't a big deal. For the card reward, I also took Empty Body, because now I'm really realizing that I really need more ways to exit Wrath, because otherwise I'm not in a good position if I am in Wrath and I can't exit it. Okay, against the Snake Plant, I actually did an interesting strategy. So rather than doing anything else, I played the Eruption and the Vigilance, and then I used Meditate to get both of them back. So that means that next turn I could enter Wrath, and I can also exit it. Yeah, so what I did there is I played Eruption, gain energy, did the Reach Heaven, so that would ensure that I have a Through Violence in my deck. And then also played the Vigilance, so that way I wouldn't be in the Wrath stance. And then I had Crescendo, so as soon as I drew the Through Violence, I knew I could kill. And I also took Tranquility, so that will stay in my deck, it'll be innate, it will help the Spirit Shield, and it will allow me to exit Wrath whenever I want to, once I draw it, of course. Alright, so for the Gremlin Leader fight, I actually didn't have enough damage to kill both of them, so I had to just kill one of the minions, and then just fully defend and hope he didn't attack. And I got lucky he didn't attack. But then the turn after I got Conclude. Now, I got Conclude and Vault in the same hand, which is a problem, right? Because I have to make a choice between them. Conclude will get rid of all the minions, but the backliner was attacking me for quite a bit, so instead I did Vault. And then slowly but surely start picking off the minions. Okay. Yeah, I did have to play the Tranquility, but I still ended up taking quite a bit of damage, which is fine. So I, at this point, have 2 Sands of Time in my hand, and I can easily use Crescendo to enter Wrath and then kill with both of them. That's almost 100 damage when you have 2 of them, right? That was also the Super Elite. I hadn't even noticed. Yeah, that's the Super Elite, so I got the Emerald Key. Okay. And then for the card reward, I decided to go for the collect, the upgraded collect. I thought that the extra energy would be nice since I am lacking energy. So having a miracle in each hand, that's basically 2 extra energy since the collect was upgraded, I think was a good idea. Alright, so my strategy at the at almost the end of Act 2 was to basically wait for the Sands of Time to come in my hand, wait a little bit, defend while it gets cheaper, and then play them to kill while in Wrath. Alright, here I also got Demaru, which I think I used once in the whole game, maybe I'm wrong, but so basically it gives you 1 mantra for each turn, so in 10 turns you can enter the Divinity stance, which is going to be great. I also got Akabiko in that same reward. Alright. So here, unfortunately, Foreign Influence was not yet upgraded, so the Ragnarok was not free. But I was able to deal enough damage, and the bird killed himself on our Thorns. Okay. And next, I was able to enter Crescendo, use Vault, and then I should have enough damage to kill. Yep, perfect. Okay, since I was low on HP, I did decide to rest before the Act 2 boss. And then I also decided to drink the power potion. Now, unfortunately, I didn't get amazing things. So I ended up taking the Mental Fortress because I thought a little bit of block is better than nothing. Fasting would have been pretty bad since I only had 3 energy. I think that would have been a disaster, even though the strength and dexterity I would get would be pretty neat from that. Okay. You can tell that all my turns take a little longer now because I want to make sure I play well. I want to make sure I don't make any errors. Now, I do have a personal rule that I think in Ascension runs, especially Ascension 20, it's okay to reload if I'm doing pretty poorly, but I want to avoid that, right? I want to minimize that as much as I can. I still have definitely other runs. Getting to Ascension 20, I definitely reloaded a lot of fights because, you know, I got close and I made a small mistake, but I was trying to play better. I was trying to make sure I only play what I know will let me win and not die. So yeah, I was being very careful there. Alright, so this turn I actually was able to use the letter opener very effectively. And then unfortunately I got rid of my Tranquility because I had to exit Wrath. Which means if I enter Wrath again, I might get unlucky, so I have to be really careful with that. So I wanted to use Meditation Well to get the Eruption in my hand and the Empty Body, so I can use Empty Body to exit it if I have to. Okay. And then, yeah, I had a Vault there, play that, make the Sense of Time cheaper. I'm also up to 6 mantra right now, so we don't have much left to get to the Divinity stance. Alright. Alright, not taking too much damage yet. And then Spirit Shield, of course, helps quite a bit by giving us a lot of block. Yeah, at this point, most of my hand actually retained. I had a bunch of miracles, so I wasn't drawing enough cards, so I was trying to play out a lot of cards just to make my hand a little freer to play. Alright, so the minions are attacking me. I'm very close to killing the backliner, but it's not yet enough, and next turn I'll be in the Divinity stance, right? So by playing Reach Heaven, I almost guarantee that I'll get the Through Violence next turn. We only have 6 cards, so I'm going to draw 5 of them. And yeah, and then I entered Divinity, and all my damage all of the damage done was triple damage, which is really nice. For the card reward, I took Wish. Wish is a really good card. I mean, you can take it for plated armor or for gold. I actually ended up taking it for gold often enough because I was able to win. And then I also took the Fusion Hammer because I think at that point I had enough cards upgraded, and I also always had the Warped Tongues, which would continue to upgrade my card. I really wanted extra energy since so far with 3 energy it was a little difficult. So having a 4th energy would help a lot. Now Foreign Influence is probably the one card that I wish I would have upgraded, but I guess we have to just rely on the Warped Tongues upgrading them for us. And then with Collect, it always makes sense to play a Miracle first, like to sacrifice an energy to play Collect with more energy, because the miracles that you get from the Collect are upgraded. So you're basically trading in an out-of-upgraded miracle for an upgraded miracle at no penalty. Okay, this is a great example of where I actually used Wish to gain gold because I was very confident I could kill in time. So I don't think I needed either the extra strength or the extra plated armor. Okay, at the end of this fight, I was offered an upgraded Foreign Influence, which I definitely took. Again, Foreign Influence can be amazing. I mean, sometimes you just get cards from, for example, the Defect that only focus on orbs, which are going to be very useless, but usually you get some really powerful cards, especially if it's upgraded. You can pick a very high cost card and can play it for 0, at least in one turn. I also took Ragnarok from the Foreign Influence because I had extra damage still active with Akabiko. So the Ragnarok with Akabiko dealt a lot of damage. Alright. There I also took a bunch of gold for the Regret Curse. Mostly because I still had a shop upcoming and I felt confident that I could just remove that curse. Yep, there's a great example of the Foreign Influence being very useful. It gave me a dash for 0 cost, which basically attacked for 10 and defended me for 10. So that's an example of something being really nice, especially when it's upgraded. If it costs 2 energy, that might have been a little difficult, more difficult to play. But if it's free, it's great. Okay, here I was in a situation where I conclude was dealing a lot of damage, but it wasn't enough. So I was hoping to use the wish, but I figured I'll just finish the game. Otherwise, it is going to take too long. So I rested in full, and I saw that I still have a few rest sites left, so I can always take that key. No rush there. And then again, Blood for Blood was a great example for a card that would have cost a lot of energy, but because of Foreign Influence being upgraded, we got it for free, which is really good. Okay. I stayed in Wrath Stance, and then, yeah, I didn't have to deal with the Spiker too often. When you deal double damage, you're not gonna attack as often as you would otherwise. At this point, I decided to actually avoid elites as much as possible, just because I wasn't 100% confident. I think the Nemesis is probably our biggest concern. Right now, we do generate block, but not enough. So if the Nemesis, if we get unlucky and get 2 turns of 45 incoming, we're pretty much dead, right? So I wanted to play it a little safe, not take too many elites if possible, since I was pretty happy with the relics I have. Obviously, the more relics, the better, but I'd rather wanted to get to the final boss fight, get to the heart, rather than not do that. Oh, I didn't even mention, yeah, one of the reasons it's taken me quite a while to actually get to Ascension 20 and then beat it is because every Ascension 20 run I make, I basically focus on getting to the heart. I'm not treating a Ascension 20 win as a win if I don't make it to the heart or if I don't beat the heart. So that's why I am trying to get all of the keys, and I'm changing my path to make sure I get all of them. So against the Maw, I actually got Wish very early, and I decided to just go for gold. I'm not 100% sure why. I think I was hoping that the 6-plated armor wouldn't have been a big deal. So yeah, I was hoping I could get by without it. And then Foreign Influence giving me Hyper Beam is another great example for why it's awesome. The Hyper Beam was 0 cost, so I didn't lose any energy playing it, and I also really didn't care about having extra focus. Alright, so final fight. Ascension 20 means that you're fighting 2 bosses. So we're starting with Deka and Dona first. Now here I use the Wish to get plated armor. I think that's very important, because you want to preserve as much SP as possible. I also got lucky and Foreign Influence gave me a Wallop, which allowed me to fully defend this first turn. The next turn I did get a Blind, which is nice, and then a Sweeping Beam, which is also good. And then here I wanted to defend as much as possible. Alright, I also got Spirit Shield the next turn, again helping me with defense. I also got another Wallop back because, yeah, I basically just want to defend as long as possible to get my Sense of Time cheap, so I can really dish out a lot of damage in a short time. I was also waiting to get cards that allow me to enter Wrath because, yeah, I haven't done that. It's also dangerous entering Wrath because I want to be able to exit it, but I do have Tranquility in my hand, so... Alright, so there's the Eruption. Foreign Influence gave me probably a Die. Yeah. And then I want to do double damage through violence, and then Sands of Time is relatively cheap. And then I did have to exit Wrath just because I didn't want to deal with the double damage. I am already losing a lot of HP, but luckily the backliner is as good as dead. So I was trying to figure out a way to play the Collect, and then yeah, by playing Collect and 2 Insights, I was able to trigger the Letter Opener and kill the backliner, and that way I have a lot of turns where I get an upgraded Miracle. So at this point the enemy has 9 strength, which is not bad because he's not going to gain any more. So basically we just have to defend against 42 each turn. We don't have any sources of weakness. And we're getting reasonably close to getting enough defense for that. I also keep both protects in my hand, so that'll be security policy in case there's one turn where I can't defend, I'll just play them. Yeah, so the last turn was an example where my Penib was active, but I wasn't in Wrath, so if I played the Eruption I would have lost the benefit of the Penib, so I played Crescendo first. So that would allow me to double damage with the Sands of Time, dealing over 100 damage, just short of 100. But then unfortunately I was in Wrath and I couldn't exit it, so I played Spirit Shield, I played the Protects, but then still that wasn't going to be enough to defend me, so I had to drink the Stance Potion, and then the turn after I entered Divinity Stance, so that was an easy kill. The boss after this was the Awakened one, which is actually not a bad thing for us, because I didn't have any powers. Yeah, I'm thinking really hard on how to do it. I do want to get rid of the minions, but I also want to fully defend, and it's always going to be difficult to enter Wrath, right? Because this enemy is one of the enemies that attacks every turn. At least with both Dono and Deku and the Time Eater, there are some turns where you're not getting attacked. With Dono and Deku, that happens when you kill one of them. Yeah, so here I used Vault to skip my turn, able to play another Sands of Time, and then I have a Meditate, so I can always exit Wrath. Okay. Alright, so first make sure I'm defended as much as possible, and then I got an Eruption back so I can enter it again. Okay. Another 22 incoming, there's a Wish. Trying to think if I can have enough energy. So yeah, we definitely want to take the plated armor. I also want to enter Eruption so I can do a very high Sands of Time, including a double damage one. That almost both Sands of Times, one being double damage and both being in Wrath, dealt over 150 damage, which is pretty neat. Okay. And now he's almost there. I haven't given him any extra strength, which is really good. Okay, I also got Spirit Shield for a little bit extra block. Yep. Okay. Alright, so we're very close to killing here. There it is. Alright, so now it's transforming. I still have both protects. I also got an early blind, which is really good. And then I got a few defensive cards, which allowed me to fully defend against the 31 incoming. Okay, and since he doesn't have extra strength, at least not too much extra strength, it is not super difficult, so... Okay, and then this turn, I didn't actually want to play any attack cards because I had Penib active, and if you can see, I already had 9 mantra, so next turn I was going to enter Divinity, so all my attacks would deal triple damage, which means triple damage with the Penib would be 6 times damage. That means that a single Sands of Time dealt 150 damage. So that's what I did. I basically blew up the boss in that one turn where I entered Divinity. So really all I need to do is get to turn 10. And then in the Divinity stance, I should be able to kill everybody, but getting there is obviously difficult. Yeah, so unfortunately, while this deck is doing pretty well against the bosses and elites, it is not at all prepared for the hard fight, or even the boss before the hard fight. We just don't have enough defense, and I think that that's basically where I failed. I just wasn't able to get enough defensive cards. Alright, so here I did buy a Dex Potion, but I didn't want to use it, although I realized that I was not going to be able to survive this fight, and I do want to get to the heart first, so I did use it early on just to get extra block to not lose as much HP as I could have otherwise. Alright, yeah, so the second turn, the Spire Spear is attacking for 40, and it's very difficult to defend against all of that. I also had blind, but both the enemies had artifact armor, so I wasn't able to weaken any of them. Yeah, that's a lot of incoming, right? 57 on the left, 12 on the right. Okay, so I did get plated armor, and now I just have to turn around. And I literally can't. I don't have any attack cards, so I can't turn around, so I end up with 4 HP. So it's looking pretty grim here. We can do empty body to gain energy, and then reach heaven for a good amount of damage. Okay. Down to 3 HP now. So we have Eruption. I have to basically kill this turn. Alright, I did get a Vault, which is very useful. Makes both Sands of Times a little cheaper. And then I was able to deal get a double damage Sands of Time, and then a free Ragnarok, which allowed me to deal a lot of damage. It's just unfortunate that all of that had to happen when I was down to 3 HP. At the end, I also was offered another Foreign Influence, but I think at that point that was a little too much. Yeah, and here defense is a problem. We only have 3 HP. And we need to survive a lot. And even if we had more HP, we just didn't have enough block overall. So yeah, the second turn, the heart is attacking us for 45. We only have 1 protect and pretty much nothing else. So yeah, this deck was not ready for the hard fight. Even if I had more HP, I just did not have enough defense. But overall, I hope you liked it. I think it was an interesting run. It was actually the first time I got to the heart in Ascension 20. And I'm currently still working on actually beating the heart in Ascension 20. I'm playing it casually after the dailies for maybe 1 or 2 runs every day, just to see what I can do. But so far, I haven't been able to beat the heart with the Watcher on Ascension 20. But I'll get there, and hopefully I'll post it when I do. Anyway, thanks for watching. Again, as a reminder, I'll be back on March 2nd with the daily for that. So, bye.